Check. Maybe we need to turn it. Oh, it's going to be a fun night. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the March edition of Fishtrap Fireside. My name's Mike Midlow, and it's good to have all of you folks come down here. And I want to welcome all of you folks who are watching us on the internet. Thanks for tuning in. Fireside, for those who are new or haven't been here for a while, is a monthly reading series for Wallowa County writers to read and share their work. And every month we get to hear a little bit about what local writers are thinking about and writing down. And each March, we've probably done this 5, 6, 7 years, we celebrate Women's History Month by stacking the lineup with with 3 different generations of storytellers with different life experiences and stories to tell. And this month is going to be pretty cool. Our featured readers are, and give them a hand when I read their names so they build their confidence for when they come here. Our featured readers are Nodya, Papineau. Nodya read at Fireside. I think you were 18 or 19 years old, something like that. Right. Yeah, so it's really cool. Kathy Hunter was 18 or 19 the first time. Kathy Hunter is our next. And Beth Estock was originally scheduled to be here and had to cancel at the last minute for a family thing. And so pinch hitting tonight, we'll have Beth back next season. Pinch hitting tonight is Fishtrap's very own Jennifer Hobbs. Each month we have Fishtrap Fireside as a sponsor, and it's just a community business organization that decides to help support, and they help us buy the cookies and treats and drinks. So this month's sponsor there are 2 of them. It's Moonshine Glass Art here in Enterprise and Feed Right Vintage in Joseph. So next time you see Sterling or Emily around the neighborhood, say, hey, I was at Fireside. Thanks for sponsoring it. It really makes a difference. Before we get going, I do want to talk a little bit more about what Fishtrap is doing for Women's History Month. Right now we're in the middle of Fishtrap Reads. It's a month-long celebration of a great work of literature. We picked The Jump Off Creek by Molly Gloss. It's a reading club and a book club favorite and has been for years. Each week we've distributed more than 400 free books to schools and libraries in Wallowa and Union counties. You can pick up yours there, and then we're creating events each week that you can watch online, or you can come here on March 22nd in a few weeks. The author, Molly Gloss, is going to be standing right here talking about this book. It's a free event, and you'll be able to ask her questions, and if you haven't read the book yet, pick it up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give one lucky person the chance to have this book that I'm holding right here and bring it and have Molly Gloss sign it on the 22nd if you can answer the following question. And pocket computers are allowed for this one. But don't raise your hand before you know the answer. You might be able to pull it up on your pocket computer and then scroll until but you have to know the answer. So, there's a woman who made all of our lives so much easier. And if you can tell me what Josephine Cochran is the most famous for having done, raise your hand. Josephine Cochran. I think we should. Yes. What's the best answer? We have I'll give you an example. I'll give you a hint. We at my house have a picture of Josephine Cochran on our dishwasher. Josephine Cochran invented the dishwasher and gave us all more time to do the things that we love, like write and do art and do all different things. So next time you load a dishwasher, think of Josephine Cochran. Who yelled it out? Rusty? Here you go, man. Look up Josephine and all the women inventors who created things that haven't been celebrated. Okay, here's how Fishtrap Fireside works. Each month, we invite 3 people to come up and read for about 10 minutes. And afterwards, we'll take a break. You can visit with those folks, refill your glass, get something to eat, and then we'll all come back for, if you can, stay for our open mic. And the open mic are just little tiny little treats, up to 5 minutes. People, if you have written a poem recently or read something interesting or just want to share a story or a joke, you're welcome to do that. The sign-up sheet is right there. We have 3 people signed up, so there are 2 spots left over. So if you are inspired at the break, scribble your name on there, and then we'll see you then. Okay, let's get to our first reader, huh? Nodya. Nodya Papineau is 23 years old and a Wallowa County poet. She lives in Lostine with her partner Franklin and her 3-year-old daughter Clover and her pet cat Beals.
She didn't make it.
No, okay. Good kid. Nodya is a paraeducator at the Wallowa Middle School and facilitates a weekly after-school writing program for Wallowa middle and high school students. Nodya also works as a housekeeper for Enterprise Auto and Fishtrap here on the weekends. She does a great job. Thanks. Thanks. When we pay her. She studies English and sociology full-time online at EOU and will be graduating with a Bachelor's of Science in English in June of this year, but that's not all, folks. Nodya plans to pursue her Master's of Arts in Teaching in the coming years to become a middle and high school English teacher. Please welcome Nodya Papineau.
Out here, be back at Fireside. It's been a minute. So I have 2 poems for you guys tonight. Since it is National Women's Month, the first poem is dedicated to my 4 mothers, my mother, my grandmother, my other grandmother, my great-grandmothers. And one of my grandma couldn't make it tonight. She's watching online. I love you, Grandma. So, and the second one is dedicated to my soon-to-be 2 daughters, second daughter expected in July. Thank you. But I did want to just give like a little trigger warning. These poems both have themes of, family baggage, which we all have. So, I mean, there's no dancing around that. And, that's about it. So, anyway, this first poem is called Breaking the Cycle. 4 generations of women encircle a fire of trauma fueled by the transgressions of their forebears. Each take turns slipping slivers of ice into the flames. They fizzle but could never extinguish the embers. This ritual, an integral piece of a sempiternal family tradition which is never fully completed. Lifetimes cannot last, and for each fragment of healing, new anguish is ignited with each blow, infidelity and abandonment. Futility will never outweigh their duty to one another. Last year, great-grandma Naomi died trying to quell the blaze with ever-clear tears shed for the death of her youngest son, who was Carol's husband of 49, not 50 years. The family wept together, watering the fire pit with vices and wondering why the inferno grew brighter. Carol's two granddaughters both moved away, one returning the following year, just as the other broke free. Her only daughter, Lacey, returned home that year to supply the hearth with fresh hurt, apologizing profusely as they watched the flames lap at the pine needles hanging overhead. There was no shared resentment for her, nor the fire she had fed, for summer had come to an end, and the newfound warmth was welcome. Her tears, like oil, led them on through the winter. Her father would have been proud of her ability to carry on. Lacey's daughter asks no questions. These flames are her birthright, all she will ever know of her mother's mothers, those who lit and fanned that fire so very long ago, June and Hattie, Gail and Eileen. They built their own pyre to keep them warm and ended up burning along with it. Their best intentions bred their darkest moments. Those still left have blistered noses to show for it, singed church dresses, and the youngest, too, becomes attached to the damage kindled by the women she loves most. Needles of ice sow threads of smoke, stitching one to another. Together they are hopelessly unbreakable. She considers what would happen if they simply walked away, if they allowed the fire to burn, unattended, unextinguished by lifetimes of effort. Those who lit and fanned this fire are long gone, this eternal flame their only legacy. And to save her daughter from the inferno, she must sever the only tether to the traumas that ignited it. Perhaps it should have been severed long ago. Okay. This second poem is called Two Daughters in a World Built for Sons. Two pink lines manifest on a pregnancy test, and suddenly I am more than myself. Months later, they call with the results of my blood test. My second daughter, a baby sister, a girl. Don't leave the house alone after dark. All at once, a mother of two daughters to guide and to protect. I should be overjoyed, but terror settles where I remember what that means. Make sure someone knows your location at all times. A Google search history rife with inquiries on how to raise young women correctly, how to raise them safely, how to protect them from a society that secretly hates them and preys upon their naivety. Don't dress too provocatively. Media behemoths bombard my already troubled mind with new reasons every day to fear for my children, new motives to keep them sheltered away from what is unknown, from who is untrusted. Don't leave a drink unattended. I refuse to allow my two perfect daughters to become two perfect targets. The world is indeed a playground marked "No Girls Allowed." Carry your mace can on your keychain. I believe that women are worthy of taking up space, that women and girls don't have to earn their place. My hope is that the voices of mothers of daughters and the voices of mothers of sons will one day rise above this anti-woman dogma and reshape what our children will become. Try not to provoke a man to anger. I don't want my children to merely survive the life I gave them. Just because I had to learn these rules doesn't mean I want to have to hand them down. You and you alone are responsible for your safety, but what choice do I have? Thank you.
Come back anytime. Sounds like you're going to have an exciting summer. Speaking of excitement, we have a great lineup of events and programs coming up this spring, March, April, into May, and I want to tell you about just a few of them. We've been having these online writing workshops, and some people, what's cool about them is we're going to start working on hybrid ones, where you can hang out here and then be able to hang out with people from all over the country. In this the workshop that's happening right now, that's going on right now, there are participants from New Mexico to Alaska in this weekly workshop, and I say hi to them every week and say, wow, how are you folks doing? And this next one has folks from California. There's somebody from Ecuador attending one of these online. Anyway, you get to meet all these different folks, and it's really cool. So Tuesdays in March, How to Land the Ending, an essay workshop with an Alaskan author and teacher, Karina Cook. Karina's amazing. So if you're thinking about, you've been writing some things, like, how do I end this gosh darn thing? There's a nice group of people. That starts next Tuesday. In Wednesdays in April, we have a workshop called Getting Unstuck with Montana author Katherine Johnson. That's all about writer's block. Like, gosh, I can't get that pen to do anything. This is supposed to inspire you to be with a small group of people, supportive people, and do that. And in May, you can learn the art of writing better dialogue, conversations, with Jensen Helke for a workshop titled When Characters Talk. Check it all out at fishtrap.org. Just wanted to share that with you. Okay, thanks again for our pinch hitter, Jennifer Hobbs, who at the last minute said, oh yeah, I'll help you out. So, and we always enjoy hearing Jennifer. I believe this is her third Fishtrap Fireside featured reading. And let me tell you a little bit about Jennifer Hobbs. Jennifer grew up on a small farm near Mount Rainier and spent most of her childhood vacations here in Wallowa County. She's been able to merge a lifelong love for both science and writing into work in multimedia, content management, search technology, and journalism. And has been playing with short films, theatrical adaptations, essays, photography, and poetry for many years. Plus, hanging out with Jennifer the past few months, she does everything and everything well, it seems. She lives with her family and beloved menagerie on the Lostine River. Help me welcome Jennifer Hobbs.
Okay, glasses on. Here we go. So when Shannon asked on Monday afternoon if I would be willing to read, I was like, what a great opportunity. It's been 4 years. I'm sure I have lots of material to pull from. The last 4 years were a lot. So I was looking at it and I was like, oh, I had a 25th anniversary and I got good at administering insulin and I got accepted to a master's program and then I didn't go, and I wrote a libretto and 2 plays and some essays and an article about safe following distance that will totally change the world. We got a puppy. I suddenly have adult children. I saw orcas in person, and I had a fox that lived under my barn, and I faced new cooking frontiers, and I went through all the things I wrote, and none of it was appropriate. And one of the neat benefits to this job, that has just been the biggest gift, is that I'm getting to work with K through 3rd graders at Enterprise. And so I'm drawing some inspiration from them. This week was Dr. Seuss week. I am that person who walks too loud and bumps into things and generally moves through the world with less grace than hope and less panache than enthusiasm, even though in my mind I am gliding smoothly and quietly along. One of my children once put his hands out to fend off the annoying glare of my relentless optimism, which I think is obnoxious and unwarranted, but then so does he. I think optimism doesn't imply expectation, which my sister and I agree, expectations are heinous. Even if you don't have them, though, they are surprisingly hard to let go of. Though I don't remember what it felt like to believe this, I remember going through a phase in my early 20s where I felt like there were just no heroes for me to look up to. I remember shaking my head and heaving a jaded sigh in disappointment at the way my mother had given up on her ideals. Luckily, the maligned and astonished universe, and incidentally also my mother, chose to respond not with outrage, but with amusement. And the same said universe has been regularly pelting me with reasons for awe and cause for joy and admiration and emulation pretty much ever since. So I've told my K through 3rd graders that they need to be brave and embrace onomatopoeia and rhyme and get up in front of people. And I look back at what I read last time to you guys, for those of you who were at that last reading too, and I spoke about pain. I spoke about pain, and I am terminally earnest. So tonight I'm doing something that's a big stretch for me, inspired in part by Evelyn Swart and some other brilliant people. In the same 20s, I felt like poetry, rhyming was sort of gauche, and tonight I'm going to re-embrace. I remember being an 11-year-old playing ping pong, waiting for a lunar eclipse, and being seized by a poem that was totally filled with rhymes, and jotting it down with total confidence. And so I tried to embrace that this week. Here we go. Over, around, and through. Just saying so doesn't make it true. Fishing's not catching, seeking's not finding, stars are not wishes, love isn't blinding. Counting and hatching, team chicken, team eggs, waiting, fomenting, lift with your legs, wandering, blundering, shimmering frost, burning and brining, fumble and loss, feathers and tar, punitive toil, pain isn't weakness, the watch pot will boil. Breaching, not beaching, glorious gleam, sap and slime and sleepy steam, brilliance and boredom, floundering boast, fractal truth, asymptotic approach. Smolder and sunder and sharpen and tend, glisten and hasten and hammer and bend, summon and shelter and squander and keep, thunderous whispers and not enough sleep. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. It might make you stronger, but it's not all good. To err is divine. To laugh is to leaven. Cleanliness isn't heaven. Jump the conclusion, bargain, brood, watch it land butter side down like you knew it would. Tail wags the dog and ushers in the bear. Are those really the problems, and why still care? Worry won't change it. Neither will despair. Humpback, manatee, honeybee, sloth, too many cooks and not enough broth. Rummage through history, try to rearrange it, put it on the wall, forge a new frame for it. Don't flatten the earth, or seek to wound with kindness, or pave the path down with good intentions and blindness. Claim to know the elephant after touching just its tail, failing to plan or planning to fail. Overwork the dough, pull the wrong thread, get on your feet and out of your head. So yeah, I guess Edward Lear and Dr. Seuss and a few others inspired that. So I realized belatedly as Nodya was up here really embodying feminism that my next poem maybe will seem kind of stuck in the past, but it's not. It's totally not. My grandma was an absolute food pusher, and I'm totally not. This is just a piece of fiction, really. So, friends and foe both be forewarned. I've strapped on my apron, battened the hatches, bandoliered utensils, mixed up batches, cocked the rolling pin, and fired up the blender. You should just surrender. At the first sign of darkness and doom, I won't stockpile. I'll fight the gloom. Swab the counters, start up the stove, to save my land and the ones I love. I sprint for my kitchen castle to shift the dangerous mood. I roll up my sleeves, grab recipes. I'm going to save the world with food. Go ahead, assault these delicious crenellated walls, encrusted with spice. Storm these fragrant halls. The portcullis isn't locked. You're invited to the feast. Food has music that soothes the beast. Park your tank out front, you misguided meanie. Your payload will marinate in cottage cheese, then fill it to the turrets with fresh zucchini, garnished with herbs and snap peas. Fall into my gumbo moat. A plate and a fork can be your boat. Weapons sink in golden roux. Soak it up, it's good for you. Mashed potato mortars, gingerbread rockets, marshmallow missiles, cherry Danish bombs for pockets. I'll build a bagel bunker, keeping everything far from the sweet. All armies will come in from the deafening din. Instead of hunkering, we'll eat. Smack Goliath between the eyes with an orange-zested cranberry scone. Shift Cyclops' myopic gaze with magical glaze and change his fearful tone. Some say his fury comes from hostile digestive slurry. We'll alter his gut biome. Thwart the sirens and Gorgon with genteel brunch of curry, quiche, and salad. Proof the yeast, knead the dough, and rally the troops with an affirming custard ballad. Run into the fray with cassoulet, crying, longer tables, not taller fences. Take over the town with pie delicately brown before they can mend their defenses. Throw pumpernickel rounds in front of getaway cars. Convert foxholes into piano bars. Who can resist a siege of cake, no matter what drastic steps they take? We have onions and we're not afraid to use them here. Let fly the garlic shrapnel across the salty sands. We bushels of basil to learn the phone near, then lasso them with al dente angel hair strands. When the apocalypse tries to settle in, when dark power seems sure to win, I'll do just what I said I would. I'll fight fire with food. We can build an ice cream stand in no man's land that allows only spoons, no bayonets or knives. They'll savor the flavor and do us the favor of saving each other's lives. Lob a lemon grenade into mint green shade. Load the cannon with a mighty melon ball. In judicious places, these yield sticky faces and laughter and seeds for all. My pantry is my keep, my larder is my treasure. Maple syrup runs deep, as does gustatory pleasure. We are fruit ninjas beguiling, fricasseeing strife while we keep on smiling. My bludgeon a baguette, your fondue fork fierce, our Dutch oven armor impossible to pierce. Pepper them with prunes and kale, warm cookie ammunition. Heat them ceaselessly where it hurts, with balance and nutrition. Sound the bell, beat the drum, set the table, let them come. Welcome to the house of the rising bread. You've passed the point of retreat. Abandon despair, all you enter here. Pull up a chair, let's eat. Spread out the truce flag under a tree, set out a picnic, and feel free to enjoy the taste of harmony. I'll serve you and you serve me. You may say it's just a dream, but compromise tastes great with cream. And likewise, a friend with a heart to mend. If you're empty or hopeless in pain, get in while the getting's good. Or I promise I'll come after you with food again and again and again. When the Grim Reaper comes for me, I'll set him down for toast and tea. We'll chat about how expensive the underworld is to heat. And as we finish off with a tasty treat, we'll agree to convert hell to a bakery.
Thanks, Jennifer. Last month I said this too, and I'm going to repeat it again. It's like, there's so many things we could be doing and so many things to click on the TV. If you're sitting out there thinking, gosh, I'm glad we went out tonight. This was fun. Consider on your way out throwing a couple dollars in that Steve Arment carved fish right there. It really does help us keep the lights on and makes us feel like, oh, we're doing good things, and it really helps. So if you can do that, we would appreciate it. Anything else? Okay. Our third reader, this is zipping right along tonight. Our third reader is Kathy Hunter, who's been around Fishtrap for 20 or more years, and you're going to enjoy getting to know her a little bit tonight. After a journalistic career in Alaska, Kathy Hunter arrived in Wallowa to perform as a storyteller and a musician, to write and record for children, and to partner with Fishtrap in the radio show Fishtrap Storytime. Changing focus during the pandemic, she now spends her time producing children's books, inspired by the favorite characters from her 4 CDs, and in sculpting critters of clay that have their own stories too. Please welcome Kathy Hunter.
Thanks Shannon and Mike for helping me do this, and express my appreciation from the top of of my gray head to the bottom of my monkey socks for Kendrick Mohold and the wonderful photos, and for my clay ladies. I was sent to this event as local news promoter to report on the pace of a go-kart race with rides denied a motor. Canines fine from every line came brave and lion-hearted to Barton Heights to claim the rights to win this race go-karted. The dogs were set, the crowd made bets and finished negotiation. With mutts lined up now, every pup trembled with excitation. A rooster crowed, and at once the road was full of loud depravement, as the barking sound of 100 hounds went roaring down the pavement. There were go-karts long and go-karts strong of mismatched things unlikely. Some funky, hunky, junky crafts with tacked-on wheels, recycling. Some were sassy and some were classy. A dragon boat whizzed by. I was in awe at what I saw, could not believe my eyes. Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 dogs in a tub. The third mouthed his rubber ducky. They held the space for second place. It seemed they might be lucky. I was much afeared for how they steered with all that speed behind them. In their flight, not a break in sight. It seemed a draft stratagem. For dogs love speed, and they feel no need to stop for any reason, except for eats and canine treats. That holds for any season. 2 Shih Tzus drooled from a cable spool as I watched them with compassion. With 2 flat tires, you had to admire how they clung in circular fashion. The St. Bernard, that first aid guard by the breeze, was taunted when the Afghan came a-wafting by with pheromones that flaunted. Now fast and faster the setup for disaster loomed in a coming pileup. The time was prime, and I used that time to put the vet on dial-up. Funny how the fates allow somehow a thing absurd. It was just our luck when the rubber duck got squeaked, and they all heard. Dogs intent on a fast descent fell prey to that distraction. That small sound caught by every hound then caused a chain reaction. The St. Bernard hit the Afghan hard and toppled her into the clover. He next was smoked by the dragon boat, leaving him a pushed-over rover, or a rover turnover. Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 dogs in a tub bashed into a larger vessel. The 4 dogs there raised their angry hairs and looked all primed to wrestle. Carts now smashed in an awful crash, vehicles torn and colliding. But through the mess, with clear finesse, the skateboard mutt went gliding. The dreadfulness, I must confess, now blocked the road completely. But while we watched the race get blotched, the dogs had vanished fleetly to chase some cats or long-tailed rats, to get in garbage too, to answer the lure of stinky manure and rolling cattle poo. Even the skateboard dude, whose fortitude you'd think made him the winner, ditched his board with no reward to hurry home for dinner. Absent the din and with no bets to win, the audience peeled off, walking, leaving the locals, those deserted yokels, with the road the mess was blocking. The crowd had left the neighbors bereft of tools and helpful manuals, but all agreed on their future need. There'd be no second annual.
They're letting me talk on screen this time. Hi, I'm Shannon McGurney. I'm the Executive Director for Fishtrap and also Tech Truck, I think they call me. Kathy, thank you so much. That was wonderful, and it's apparently a rhyming night. So I wanted to tell you a couple things too. As Mike mentioned, this is Women's Month, and we are hosting this year the joint event with the Giuseppe Center for Arts and Culture and with the Wallowa County Music Alliance on March 31st, which is a Friday, is the Women's Words and Music Concert that will be here. So please mark your calendar for that. That's a wonderful event, and I don't think we've been able to do it in person for a while. So please come back and join us for that. That'll be a fun evening. We're excited to be able to host it. I also wanted to ask again, this couple of days has been kind of interesting. Yesterday, Mike and Jennifer and I took a road trip to LeGrand, and we got to meet with Eastern Oregon University and Art Center East and Cook Library, who all do work with Fishtrap in one way or another. And this year, they're all participating in the Fishtrap Reads program. Some of you may know that Eastern Oregon University and Fishtrap have a formal agreement where they have a low residency MFA program, and Fishtrap gets to be the residency of that. Each year, I think last year we had 25 MFA students at Summer Fishtrap, and what that does for this program and for our writers is amazing, and I think we also contribute to them. The second thing that happened on the heels of that, where we got to talk about community and how important it is for us to work together and how we thrive, is I got a chance this morning to participate in an interview with Rich Wanschneider with the Oregon Community Foundation. And it was really interesting to sit back and listen to Rich talk about the beginning of Fishtrap and how that all came together. Judy, your name came up too, about how it was all about the need to not just build community, but how important writing is to telling our stories and how important it is for all of us to come together and do that. We are so blessed in this community that we have the quality of writers that you've heard tonight, and that all of you, I'm looking around and I'm seeing Madeline, and I've seen Dustin and Susan, and all of these folks in here that have read at Fireside. This is a wonderful community. This program is free for us for you to attend, but I did want you to know that even though we have a little bit of grant support for this, we only pay for about a third of this Fireside program with the money that's contributed to us. So if you can kick in a little extra money tonight, it does help. It makes a big difference. And all the money that we have can go to help support other programs. So I want to thank you for coming tonight. We're going to take a little break. There is still 2 spots left on the open mic. Please come and sign up for that. If you have questions about how that works, come and see me, and I will be back. All right. Okay. Have a nice break. Go get a glass of wine, and we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you.